Yes, y'all, and you don't stop, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do. Genuinely do hope that. And welcome back to the studio and Chelsea news, of which there is lots, of course. The circus continues over in southwest London as Chelsea try and offload a whole extensive cast of characters in the great theatre show that is Bowley's West London Blues, whatever you want to call it. I'm here to guide you through though, dear sweet friend, viewer, and hopefully subscriber. We will get through it together because this is Football Therapy. So, if you want to be part of the gang, do consider subscribing. If you choose to do so, you should hit the bell because, of course, we are in transfer season and you can keep up with all the news by subscribing and hitting the bell notifications icon. And I do thank any and all of you who decide to click that little like button. Today, lots to get into. Chelsea are considering selling Kai Havertz. At the point now, look, Kai Havertz has frustrated, but he's also just demonstrated moments of immense quality. Imagine if we sell Kai Havertz, Mateo Kovacic, Mason Mount, all like Galacticos, potential quality, top tier professionals, real serious talent. But this is indicative of where Chelsea are now, and the just sheer level of eggs they are willing to break to make this new omelette where we hope we can experience rebirth. We need a rebirth omelette, you know? Quick update on Trevoh Chalobah, who Inter are trying to sign. Liam Twomey yesterday posted an article on the Athletic. Trevoh Chalobah wants to stay and fight for his place at Chelsea, which is interesting because many a person is trying to jump ship under incoming coach Pochettino, despite this interest from Inter Milan. The Champions League finalist, Inter, that's all they are, really. We all want them to win, but, you know, they've been monitoring Chalobah for some time now. Chelsea are highly motivated to sell a significant number of players in the transfer window. Can I just say, I'm highly motivated for them to do the same. To offset some of the vast recruitment drive led by Todd Boehly and Clear Lake Capital in the first year of their ownership. The squad is bloated to I thought I said unimaginable, but it was unmanageable. But let's say unimaginable proportions, because it's ridiculous. The lengthy list of summer departures from Stamford Bridge is likely to include several Cobham Academy graduates, and Inter's long-standing interest in Chalobah presented the possibility that he could be sold. Chalobah himself, however, wants to meet Pochettino, sit down with a gaffer, you know, get a sense of where he fits. We've spoken about this. Chelsea have got a lot of defenders. In theory, you could have the four rotating young defenders moving forwards that we've spoken about. Trevoh Chalobah, my favourite Wes Fofana, Benoit Badiashile as a left footer, and of course Levi Colwill as a left footer. Four go into two quite nicely. Of course, at the moment, we've got Thiago Silva, that's probably going to sort of not play as much. And indeed, you've got Kalidou Koulibaly, who Chelsea would probably like to sell as well. But Chalobah wants to stay and fight for his place. He's not going to necessarily just bow out and say, yeah, all right, here's your, wait for that buzz term, pure profit, Chelsea. You know, I will follow the likes of Mason Mount for a lot of money, who we're about to talk about. Ruben Loftus-Cheek and any other academy players that we saw. There'll probably be more, you know, there could be. You don't know what's going to happen to the likes. You know, Hudson-Odoi will almost certainly be sold. Is Ethan Ampadu still in the books, or has he been flogged to an Italian team? I should really know that. But Chelsea are hoping to make a lot of money, so let's talk about that now. Yeah, but we are going to talk about Kai Havertz. Keep your powder dry, ladies and gentlemen. Chelsea are playing hardball over Mason Mount transfer as Manchester United face hefty asking price, writes John Cross. Also, there is talk of Manchester United not only signing Mason Mount, but also wanting to sign Mateo Kovacic. You know, they know he's a baller. Both are ballers in their own right. But again, we must look through the lens of a collective rebuild with a unified idea. All these players will upset at least someone. Whether it's Mason Mount being sold, or whether it's Mateo Kovacic sold, or potentially, the headline suggests, Kai Havertz being sold. You know, some people will be like, a very small portion of people will be like, yeah, they all can go, we've been terrible for a while. You know, I think it would be a very small portion, because a lot of people like, understandably, for their qualities, Havertz and Kovacic, but many people understand what Mount's productivity and commitment has done. So yes, but there'll be a very, very small percentage that will be like good riddance to all three. But what you need to understand, what we need to understand, is we've been so much slapdash for so long of just good players that in theory are really good. I've been saying this for years on this channel, bro. I've been saying this since Maurizio Sarri days. Chelsea have got good players that don't fit an ethos properly. And this is the hangover, the fallout from bad planning for years. You got to start from the beginning and build up to a unified collective idea. And maybe you just lose some of the players that you love to do that. If you love them, let them go. Chelsea are apparently asking massive sky-high fees. Agents have described Chelsea's asking price as sky-high, quote, says Jonathan Cross. Even though there is a pressing need to offload players, UEFA have a deadline of June the 30th for player sales to be included in to the 22-23 accounts to fall into financial fair play rules. So this is, of course, like, everyone knows they've got us over a barrel. Not only do we have 400,000 players and couldn't possibly continue with this ridiculous squad, but we've got a deadline to flog these players to fit into the financial, period. So every single club's going to be like, nah, mate, I ain't giving you that. So maybe the fact that United might want Kovacic as well, probably a blessing, because it could actually spark a Manchester-based bidding war, giving us the opportunity to actually, juice up the transfer fee. You just know Man United would pay more than City. City do spend a lot of money, but they bow out of Alexis Sanchez. They bow out of Harry Maguire. Probably, and they bow out of Cristiano Ronaldo, probably all correctly, by the way, all three of those. But they were talking to all of them, but just Man United gave more money. And therefore, they go to Manchester United. This is kind of what's happening with Mason Mount to a degree, but I have a feeling he will succeed there. So the transfer window does not open to June the 14th. Why did I think it was open already? Truly, I'm just a fan like you guys. Don't see me as a professional, see me as a content creating friend. Yes, so we've got 16 odd days to sell. We got like 2 weeks to sell all these players. That is wild. This is mad. This is crazy. Chelsea's squad was left bloated after the new here we go. 600 million spent. Yeah, Ziyech couldn't go to PSG after that move from broke down in the January transfer window where we didn't sell the forms or whatever. Anyway, whatever. Chelsea are making really, 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 really high demands, or probably quite reasonable demands, but what is seen contextually as high demands, and those demands will come down. If Chelsea flog most of the players they want to sell, even for a lot less money than they wanted, they'll probably be fine in financial fair play. But it will let them know. I suppose if it ends on the end of July, and then the new financial period starts, can they sell all these players before the end of June? Sorry. Yeah, is it June or July? I can't remember what it said. Anyway, the 17 days, they sell all the relevant players then, and then they close off that financial period, and they're like, okay, sweet. And then they start a new financial period, and like, right, because you're allowed some leeway, you're allowed to dip. They're like, right, Victor Osimhen, 120 million, here you go, and just get their money out. Do you know what I mean? Like, because like it's the start of a new financial period, they'll be looking at this young, talented army, and they'll be like, we won't have to sign any key figures for years. I mean, that's probably the plan. A risky plan of sorts, but I think it's the plan. They'll look at your Casadets, your Andre Santoses in the midfield, your Malo Gustos, etc. These young players that they're bringing in, and they're like, yeah, we'll be sweet for a little while. And also, they will still trust the academy to develop talent that they can consider, like your Lewis Halls, etc. But let's talk about Kai Havertz. So reports coming out from Spain that Real Madrid plot to transfer. Real Madrid were interested in Kai Havertz when Chelsea signed him, as were Bayern Munich. And yes, he's not like scored loads of goals, but He's proven he's got excellent moments. He's scored in big moments, of course, not least the Champions League final. And when you analyse his goals, you'll be like, yeah, quality. And people will back themselves to get more out of him. Mauricio Pochettino has reportedly decided he would be prepared to part way with Kai Havertz to let him go to Real Madrid this summer, providing a replacement is signed. The newly appointed Chelsea boss has wasted no time since being unveiled. Well, he's been unveiled as the successor, but he hasn't been unveiled yet because he's on gardening leave. Hence, no pictures in the Chelsea kit. He's technically not working, but between you and me, he's blatantly working, isn't he? Like, and he's conversations off the record sort of thing. So, but now Pochettino is looking to put his own stamp on his squad, where there's recognition that sales must be prioritised. You know, it's a big, I'm not going to say ego, but he's a big character, Kai Havertz. He deserves to be, like, played in, you know. Widespread report in Spain have made clear that Kai Havertz is among the names that feature on Real Madrid's wish lists, regardless of Karim Benzema. So Benzema might stay another year or not, but he's, like, fading now. They need a striker. They wanted Harry Kane. Kane won't leave the Prem because he wants the record, the all-time scoring record. So Kai Havertz will be cheaper than Osimhen. They've looked at Kai Havertz before. Kai's very young. He's won the Champions League. He will be viewed as a Galactico. You know, apparently they've scouted him, and the many times that Chelsea have played Real Madrid in the Champions League, the 4 times recently, apparently the Real Madrid have been really impressed with Kai Havertz and the way he's played. And of course, the head honcho, Perez at Real Madrid, who I am not a big fan of because of his involvement in the European Super League. For me, he's like a big dark lord, you know. He really likes Kai Havertz as well. So, what do you think? Let's talk about this a little bit. Aside from Kovacic and Mount, we are rebuilding the midfield. I kind of like get why we didn't. We've spoken about Joao Felix in a video. You can go watch the previous uploads. They're all relevant. You know, sort of mercurial, less hardworking. We've got Nkunku. And yes, Kai will not be played as a striker under Pochettino. I think that's kind of understood and widely reported. But we will play a player behind the striker. And yes, Nkunku will look to maybe be that guy. He's very direct and scores a lot of goals, you know. But of course, I know it's not a sexy thing to say, but Pochettino got loads of goals out of Dele Alli in that position. So you've got to say, even though Dele Alli was very highly rated, you've got to say Nkunku is maybe a bit better and in a better position in terms of how old he is to just really cook and have a really high level of productivity. But Kai could still, if that role's there to be played, you can have 2 good players to play it. I think Kai is one of them, but maybe that's unsustainable. They want high-profile starting 11 and then interchangeable good players to come in. So, like, you know, Reece James is very high profile. Malo Gusto is a good player, but he's not like Nkunku, Kai Havertz, is he? So he's like that good player to come in. You could argue if we have a really high profile midfield, Enzo Fernandez and Andre Santos, who will be considered for the first team despite being only 18, maybe 19 now, but he's coming to Chelsea to play. They don't want to loan him. They're like, he's magnificent. You know, he scores a lot of goals, but he's very much a proper, like, was kind of a defensive midfielder, but he's can do it all. But do you know what I mean? So these players can come in. We're signing a partner for Enzo, but these first 11, these youngsters can come in. That's if they're not on loan, because apparently we'll only loan like a few kids who are really need the development, but others will keep in the squad. Yes, so there's probably examples of that all around the pitch, and maybe that goes against the idea of having 2 like top tier, high profile options in that position. That in that position now, of course, would represent Kai Havertz and Nkunku. Kai's versatile, but he's wasted if he's not. It's a shame because you feel like Pochettino would be the perfect coach to get what Kai Havertz is and to get the best out of Kai Havertz. So it's quite frustrating that he would arrive and Kai goes. But this is where we're at. You know, it's the same as I'm frustrated with all these players. I mean, I know I'm a bit wet, and I go, oh, Ziyech is an amazing player. I like his left boot, and he's so unique in our squad. And you know, lockdown Pulisic, the potential's there. I see the best in everyone. which isn't helpful when you've got a squad of like 400, because then you're like, who are we going to sell? But this is a particularly difficult transition to see, like Mason, Kovacic, maybe Trevoh, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, possibly Kai Havertz, these real young high profile players go. And it's tough, man. It's tough. Anyway, let me know what you think. I've loved been going through the comments these last few videos. You've been putting in some great comments, so please continue to do so down there. Thank you for liking the video and consider subscribing. Of course, so much news popping at the moment, so make sure you turn on the bell when you subscribe and I'll keep you posted. Ciao.